Work is going all right. I've had 4 days, 2 days of live training and 4 days out on my own, and it's going pretty well. There's some little hiccups and bugs to kind of get a handle on, but that's natural, that's normal. But it's about what I thought it would be. So far so good. One thing that not work. It's work related because I happened at work, but it's not work related. So I was in a Best Buy store doing some work. And for those maybe who don't know, Best Buy is a kind of consumer electronics store. They've got everything from computers to vacuums to coffee makers to in window air conditioners, all that kind of stuff. Refrigerators, appliances. Basically, if it runs on electricity in your house, they probably have it. So I was in there doing, working with computer stuff, and I got there and I had to introduce myself to people, and which is always kind of a chore. But I got through that, and I've still got this. I've got the mask I can wear of, hey, I'm new. So if I'm a little clumsy, I'm new. Um, right, and that kind of bolsters me a little bit when I'm meeting people now for the first time, and saying, "Hey, I'm not," without saying it, I'm saying I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but here I am to do it. Um, and so I had, I think it was like 4 jobs inside the store, different whatever, and I got, first one, okay, introduce yourself and get some information. And then second one, oh, hey, you know what, I need this other information for this thing. And then third one, kind of same deal, right? And I got to the fourth one, and something wasn't quite right with the look of the display. And so it required me, my job was to, get a hold of a manager in the store and say basically, what can I do to help you get this to look right? Um, and keep in mind, to this point, everybody has been fantastic, right? They just, oh, okay, great. You're doing this, great, okay, wonderful. Yep, let me know what you need. If you need something else, just ask somebody to get a hold of me. Whatever, just fantastic. Couldn't be nicer people. Um, but this one came up, and it like shot through my head, that, hey, you can't go back and ask one more time for something. You can't disturb anybody. You just can't. I mean, if you go and bug this Ashley woman one more time, she's going to think that you're just kind of needy and incompetent and, an idiot. And you just can't do it. No way. Can't do it. And I caught myself with this thinking, this kind of intrusive thinking. And, I stepped back, I literally stepped back from the display. And like, I thought, okay, this can't be right. Right. I mean, this is just my low self-esteem or the personality disorder or something. This is old JP, I gotta deal with this. And, I just couldn't. I couldn't. Um, just the thought of asking someone, even if it was someone who I hadn't already interacted with, just the idea of doing that just flashed like bright neon flashing in my head, like, hey, no, you're a jackass if you do. You're a pest. You're more trouble than you're worth. There's no way. I mean, you need these people to be on your team, and because you might be back in the store and want to, need to have a relationship. And if I go back asking for another question, then this relationship is soured some way. And so I did what I shouldn't have done, and I kind of I managed the job in such a way as to say it was okay when it wasn't okay. Essentially committing a kind of fraud for my job that I've been working at for a week. Um, yeah, but I did it, and I think it, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have. That's bad. I mean, I actually, so I was self-convinced that I would be doing something bad if I asked someone for assistance. And so to avoid that, a fictitious made up problem, I did something that was bad. Um, so yeah, how's that grab you? um, I don't know. I got, the job went through and, we take pictures and they go back and, if there's an issue, we hear back and the pictures went and the vendor saw them and everything's fine and blah, 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 blah. So, yay, I got away with it. But yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way until just now that I, I can convince myself completely made up information, completely made up scenario, completely made up result. And that result is that I'm bad. And because of that, I did something bad. Wow. Yeah, it's Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. And as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Okay, so similar to the last episode, this is like somebody just rang the doorbell. So if you heard that, sorry. Hopefully the dogs don't bark. But yeah, I've had to restart recording this several times. So hopefully I got it right this time. And no more redos. So if the dogs bark, they bark. So yeah, that work thing. Right? I don't know, but I mean that's just an example of what so many of my interactions every day are. And it doesn't have to be, with people I don't know at work. This is like people I know, people in my family, my friends. I have these kind of intrusive thoughts, and it's not necessarily with every interaction, but for sure, if that I just feel like, yeah, I feel that way. And yeah, weird. I guess something to work on. So Cynthia, my new therapist, I talked with her about it, and obviously that's something that we're going to work on. And I'm happy, pleased, satisfied with the fact that I was able to step back and try to rethink it, try to rephrase it. And I was unable to this time, but maybe next time, assuming I can pull myself out of it long enough to see what's going on. So I did some changing on the website. I think I talked about this, and I've got it all pretty well set. A couple more little things I want to do, but so it's got me in the web pagey spirit, right? So I wrote a blog post, and I thought I'd talk about it here a little bit. So it's something that I think I've talked about on here. I'm sure I've had other episodes, but basically I titled this blog post, "Am I a Bad Person?" And let me tell you why this time. Kind of the short long story is I think I listen to podcasts when I go to bed at night with a little earbud. And sometimes in the morning, these things get, they fall on the floor instead of going back on the counter or the bedside table. And we've got dogs, and one of them is, still not a puppy. I think he's 3 or 4. I don't really care enough about them to remember such things. But so he likes to chew on things, and he chewed on, the right earbud, and damaged it enough that I can't use it. But that's not really the point. You're right. I mean, they're old. There's nothing new. They're, I'm out nothing really. But my first reaction was that dog, And then, I got over that. I thought, well, I don't know, maybe me for letting them stay on the floor, right? Don't take care of things, you invite bad things to happen to them. Right? Nothing groundbreaking there. But then my thoughts kind of went to, well, what would happen if little Luke had chomped on this and it broke off and he swallowed, the meat of the earbud? What does that do to a tiny 12-pound dog? I don't know. It could be dangerous. It probably is. Probably not guaranteed dangerous, but things happen. Things get perforated, and so I thought, well, if he eats it and he dies, then the hell with him, right? I mean, then he shouldn't have eaten it, and I had like no empathy. I had no way to. I was unable to reconsider the situation from what a dog would, experience. And it took me a week to come up with the words, and I'm going to stumble over them still. But like I couldn't, like I naturally, right, being the human, the pet owner, like I need to expect that these things happen. And what does he know? He just sees something, on the floor, and maybe it tastes yummy after, maybe it's got some sweat on it and that's salty and yummy to him, so he's chewing on it. I don't know. But like I couldn't get there in them, for like the 10 minutes I was thinking about it. And what's more striking is that like I had no response to if he were to die, right? Like I wouldn't going on that I'm the human kind of thing, I wouldn't feel badly about it. I wouldn't miss him. I wouldn't feel upset that the dog was gone. I know Nora and the kids would be. And they would be really upset. And we're talking about the older dog that we have is we're talking about end of life kind of things for Dixie. And I know that they're all going to be sad. They're probably all going to cry when that day comes. But yeah, well, okay. I don't care. And I say that as someone who loves his kids dearly and loves his wife and capable of being attached somehow. But actually there's more to that, so we'll get into that. But like it wouldn't affect me, I don't think. So I was wondering, I was pondering in this blog post, and I started thinking more about it, and I started thinking about my kids, my friends, my Nora, right? Associates, coworkers, the neighbor down the street. How would I be affected by that if something happened to one of them? And I don't know if it's a callousness. I don't know if it's lack of emotion. I don't know if it's lack of imagination to get to that point, but like I'm convinced that I have no response to it. And the passing of my dad is like proof positive in my mind that I probably wouldn't. And it's kind of disturbing intellectually, cognitively, as my therapist is fond of saying. So I don't know. I mean, I feel bad saying these things because I know the folks who listen to this podcast. Some of them are close to me, and I'm talking. And realistically, I'm talking about them included in this, right? And I don't know. Like I think if something were to happen to Nora, like my life would just go to pieces. absolutely, right? I mean, forget about like the idea that, financially she's the breadwinner for the family. And she spoiled me with a certain lifestyle. But like emotionally, being my friend, being my partner, being my companion, being able to talk to, the encouragement I get from her, the interaction, if I lost all of that, I'm, I've said it before, but I'm confident if it weren't for her that I wouldn't still be, doing this podcast, able to, but, like um, no response, no sadness, no anxiousness, no fear. And I not to sound cocky, but I'm sure that if Nora were to ponder that kind of stuff, about me, that something happened to me, that she would probably cry, right? I mean, that's what people do, right? I mean, isn't that what I don't like say normal, but neurotypical is the way out of that. But that's what people do, right? We fear the loss of our loved ones. We are saddened by the idea of life without them, and I can't get there, and I don't know why. Again, I don't know if it's callousness, if maybe it's a kind of protective measure, something that I've learned along the way, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, a question, am I a bad person? Am I, I clearly I'm capable of doing bad things at work, right? Defrauding my company. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. If any of you kind of in a similar situation. I know a lot of times with depression is thought of as, linked with sadness, and a lot of people are sad about their kids, or I would, or concerned about them. Lots of people have told me that if I knew my kids would be taken care of, then I would end it all. And to me that shows a certain amount of empathy and concern and anxiety about how things affect them, their kids, or their parents, or their brother or sister, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let me know. Jamolke@gmail.com, facebook.com/Jamolke, @Jamolke on Twitter, www.jamolke.info. That's JAMOALKI. Let me know. Or text me. Hey, text me in the United States, 248-648-1419. Yeah, I'd like to hear from some of you, as to what's your thinking about this? I'm not asking you to judge me, to say, hey, yeah, I think you're a bad person, or no, hey, don't worry about it. You're dealing with stuff. And I'm not looking for either way. I'm not looking to be judged. I'm not looking for, peer support. Just your honest kind of opinion, maybe your own experience with such things. I guess so. This past weekend, just the other day, it came out that NBA superstar legend Kobe Bryant died, unfortunately, sadly, in a helicopter crash. And my youngest told me this as I was driving my girls back home, from a really nice weekend spent with them. And like I felt an emptiness, right? Like there was a hole, like something that was just, like let's say you have a picture, right? There's a picture on your wall by the front door, and you see it every day when you go out, and something happens and the picture's gone, and it just, you take it down, or it breaks, whatever, and you something, it was just always there, and maybe you didn't even notice it when you were walking out the door every time, but it was there, right? Like, peripheral vision, like the frame or whatever. and all of a sudden it's gone. And you would feel that something was missing. It didn't really change your day, your life, right? It doesn't really affect, what you're heading out the front door to do, but just, something's gone. And that's I kind of what I was feeling about this. And I was never a Kobe Bryant fan, right? He was a Laker, and I am a Celtics fan, and so we hate the Lakers. So I was never, it's not like nothing like that. So, if you'd asked me a week ago what I thought of Kobe Bryant, I would say, who cares? And I would still say that, but it sounds kind of cruel right now. Don't speak ill of the dead, right? But yeah, so I felt this kind of emptiness, and it wasn't like I didn't feel sad. Maybe it was. Maybe that's what sadness is. I don't know. But I just felt like something was missing. Kind of a vague, foggy, kind of on the periphery, kind of missing, right? And it's hung around for whatever, 15, 20 minutes, and then it was gone. I'm still waiting for that with my dad. I haven't felt that. I haven't really experienced that. I've tried to think about it. Yeah, I don't know. More bad person, good person kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I've yammered on long enough. And if you could do me a favor and give a review or rating on iTunes for the show or wherever you can, drop the name of the podcast somewhere. Share it with a friend or talk about it with your therapist or whatever. That would be great. It's been really fantastic couple of months with downloads, and I'm a little bit geeked about it. So I'd like to see it continue to climb. Would be wonderful. Because I honestly think, to sound kind of cocky and arrogant, that, the more downloads there are, the more people who maybe are a little bit better off. I'd like to think that anyway, that folks listen because they get something from it, and maybe their day is a little bit different, a little bit better. So yeah, spread the word, please. That would be wonderful. So I guess that's it. Everybody be safe and be well.